Welcome back to Toyota Sports Talk. Always great to talk some Nats baseball leading up to opening day with Jake Russell of the Washington Post. Jake, as always, appreciate your time.
Likewise, I appreciate the invite.
Are you ready for some baseball? Are you ready for opening day? Are you ready for a new Nats season or what?
I am. I'm grateful that it was only delayed by a week. It's going to be a long week, but yeah, I'm ready for a new season to start.
What do you think about this year's group expectations? Not the best spring training down there in West Palm Beach. What do you think about this group?
So when the Nats signed Nelson Cruz, I thought that was a fantastic signing, especially with them having a designated hitter full season for the first time in the National League. And I maybe over-complimented them in my head, saying, okay, I thought their ceiling was probably third place, and now the floor might be third place. But I kind of had to scale it back a little bit, just looking at the other moves the other teams in their division have made. It's still going to be a tough season. I don't think they'll be last, like some people are predicting. It's a season for Nats fans to recalibrate, readjust, get used to the young players on the roster, watch them develop. And it's going to be a readjustment period until they finally take a step in the next year or two.
What's your biggest question mark with this team? Like for me, I think the lineup might be okay, but gosh, Jake, I'm really worried about the pitching.
That's exactly my frame of reference too, with my concerns with the roster. Pitching, if Strasburg is healthy, he's fantastic, but the problem is he's not very healthy very often. That's a big question mark. Will Patrick Corbin return to form? Will Cade Cavalli be called up before the season, or before the middle of the season? Will he? If he does get called up, will it be viewed as rushing him to the majors as opposed to letting him progress naturally through the minors? There's a lot of questions with that pitching staff, and that's going to be possibly the team's Achilles heel all year. And like you said, with the lineup, I expect it to be pretty solid, especially at the top in the heart of the order with Cruz, Bell, and Soto. Not really, I don't know if there's going to be in that particular order, but they should be in decent shape with that core at the top. But the rest of the lineup, batting wise, and remains to be seen how they'll perform.
Yeah, I want to go back to the starting rotation. I mean, if you're going to be relying on 38-year-old Anibal Sanchez, who was not in the major leagues last year, I mean, he's probably going to be in the starting rotation to start the season.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get the sentiment of bringing back some of the guys that they have on their spring training roster, like Parra and Doolittle, and they even brought back Clippard, who wasn't a part of the World Series team. But it's a nice story to have. But it's also, I don't know how much of that is trying to go for sentimentality versus production. I know GM Mike Rizzo has a method to everything he does. There's a reason for every decision he makes. I'm not so sure how it's going to translate on the field. I'm not sure it's going to be that much of a net positive necessarily.
And this is going to be a big year of development for kind of the prospects they got in that Scherzer trade, and Keibert Ruiz, the catcher, and then also Josiah Gray, Thomas, the outfielder they got in St. Louis. I got to believe those are some guys you're going to keep your eye on.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's who everyone's going to be watching, because they were the big centerpieces around the Max Scherzer and Trey Turner trade to Los Angeles last summer. And everyone's going to want to see those prospects work out. And it might not be immediate. It might not be until next year or the year after. But that's part of the I guess, charm of watching a rebuilding team, is to get to see the top young players on that team grow and develop and see how they progress from point A to point B to point C while you're watching them with that team. So those are the two big names I'm going to be watching for this year, especially when they form the battery together, when Josiah Gray pitches to Keibert Ruiz. Even though the wins might not bear out, it should be a fun season to watch in terms of watching the team grow as the season goes on.
I think we've gone this whole conversation, and I don't know if we've mentioned Juan Soto at all. He's obviously the cornerstone of this franchise. The expectation obviously is they're not going to be a contender to win the division. They're not going to be a contender for the playoffs. How's he going to handle that? And how does Rizzo and company balance that? Because they want to keep him happy and keep him long-term in Washington.
Mm-hmm. I think the important thing for Rizzo and company and Davey Martinez is just to be honest and upfront with him through the whole process, and not, give him any false illusions of what the team is or what it's going to be. But I think as long as he understands their process and their vision, and they're in communication with him about what's going on, I think he'll respect that and understand that, and I think he'll take it in stride. And I also think Nats fans are putting a little bit of armor around their heart, just in case, kind of like with Bryce Harper.
Harper, Rendon. I mean, we've seen it.
Mhm. Yeah, they have a history of letting big bats go in past off seasons. So I think fans are mentally preparing for that, and also simultaneously enjoying the next few seasons that he's under team control, with still a little bit of a hope that he does come back and sign that big extension that he's earned in his young career. So I think that's going to be, on top of watching the young prospects develop with the team. That's obviously the most important storyline, but it's one that I don't think will be resolved this season or possibly even next season. You got to wait probably a few years to see the end result of that.
And Jake, new baseball season. You got a great Nats book for our viewers that might be interested. What do you got over there?
Is 100 Things Nationals Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die. It's available on jakerussellsports.com. Just click on the Nationals book tab, and I'll ship the book within 24 hours, and I'll sign each copy for you. And it's a fantastic opening day read, opening week read, season-long read, off-season-long read. It's a fantastic read for anybody who considers themselves a Nats fan or knows anybody who considers themselves a Nats fan.
All right, take me out to the ball game. Jake Russell, the Washington Post. Always appreciate your time.
All right, thanks so much, Scott. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right, much more to come right here on Toyota Sports Talk. Stay with us.